welcome. Yes, it's not the middle of the afternoon, it's night time, and I am with you. And you're here in the Queen's Curry Kitchen. No, you're at home with me. And what are we doing today? We are making a very easy one-pot pilau for a family that has frontliners, essential workers, different people eating at different times. A busy family with lots of people going in and out at different times, and you don't have the time or the patience to wash 50,000 dishes. This is what you make, all right? This is going to be a mushroom pulao that we will make today. You are with me right now, and we're going to make it together. And we will make it in one pot. I am doing it in an instant pot, but you can do the same thing on a stovetop, with an electric pressure cooker, with a regular pressure cooker, or even on a saucepan. So whatever I'm doing here, you can totally do. I'm going to quickly position you so you can get it. There you go. So I have one large onion that I'm sauteing. I heated the oil in here, and then I added some cumin seeds, a teaspoon of cumin seeds. And then I thinly sliced this onion, and I'm trying to fry it till it's really dark brown. The other thing that's going to go in here are some cloves, a couple of bay leaves, and a little piece of cinnamon. If you don't have cumin seeds, when your oil is hot, you can put all of these, because this will help to infuse all the flavor into the rice and make it really delicious. If you have none of these whole spices, then the best thing that you can do is to use just the bay leaf, or maybe I'll tell you a trick later on which you can add later on to your rice that can actually give it a nice, yummy, delicious taste. Now the idea is to get the onions really brown. They're going to look really dark brown, but they won't be burnt. However, the brown color and the caramelization is going to make your rice nice and dark when we add the rice along with the water into this pot. Okay, I also have 3 really large mushrooms that I was able to get. These are just regular button mushrooms that you get in the store, and I've thinly sliced them. You can see how huge this was, right? If you want to make smaller pieces, you can. If you have other vegetables that you want to add, you can do that. So I've just rinsed them and sliced them, and I've kept it on the side. We're gonna wait for these to really brown up. You can make the same recipe with coconut oil. You can make it, I'm making it with light olive oil. Sorry, I went to grab some frozen peas. I just realized I have some peas at home, so I might as well use those, right? Yeah. Okay, time to drink some water. Now for this recipe, I'm using basmati rice. This is 2 cups of rice, and I've rinsed it a few times. When you wash your basmati rice, make sure you take the grains and squish them like this so that all the starches, all the dirt will come out really nicely. And to this, I've added 3 cups of water. That's because we are pressure cooking the rice. If you were actually making this on the stove top, then the exact proportion of rice to water is 2 cups of water for every 1 cup of rice. Hey Robert, welcome to my show. You want to eat some pulao? Come on over. Alright, so it's kind of, not all of them are brown, so there's still parts of it that are white, and then some parts that are crispy brown like that. So you really want to go for more brownness, more caramelization, so that your pulao will have a nice, rich, deep color. Okay? When it comes to this point, you can add your mushrooms. Do not add any salt, because you're not trying to put any moisture into this mix. Putting salt at this point will draw out the moisture, and that will not let our onions be as brown as we would like them to be. So just give the mushrooms a little stir so that there won't be that raw smell. For this recipe, you don't need onions, you don't need, you don't need ginger, you don't need garlic, you don't need a million ingredients that are normally associated with Indian food. This is the whatever you got, 1 pot pulao. And you can make it for lunch, especially if you're homeschooling your kids and you really don't have a lot of time. While you're making breakfast, you can just get this started and then put everything in the pot and just go and finish their studies for the day, and then when you come back, the pulao will be ready and it'll stay warm. So that's kind of like the idea. So you can see that the mushrooms are also starting to get a little glossy, and they're starting to get a little color. So you're going to keep stirring. You're going to take good care of them. No salt added up to this point. If you're watching from New York, give a big shout out to all the people, all the frontliners and essential workers who are working really, really hard right now. Actually all over the country, but big shout out to all those people. My husband is a restaurateur, so he's an essential worker, and he comes home at sometimes 10:30, sometimes 11 in the night, and this is a great dish. If I have it ready, I don't have to go back and forth and warm it up. I can just scoop it out of this, and it's still nice and hot. I will be serving it with a bowl of raita, which is a yogurt sauce, and that's the perfect meal. All right, so we can see that the mushrooms are kind of somewhat, they're almost caramelized. They're getting that almond kind of a brown color, and the onions are way beyond caramelized. So we don't have to allow anything to stick to the bottom of the pan. I've used sufficient amount of oil. If you're trying to make this in a low oil version, then you might have to deglaze it with water as you go along and water saute the onions. Okay, now to this, I am going to add all of my dry spices. Good old masala box, nothing out of the ordinary. The cumin powder already went in, so we're not using that. We are going to use a very, very tiny bit of turmeric, some paprika. Now this is just color, it's not hot. There's no heat in this. Coriander powder, just about half a teaspoon. And I'm also going to use Indian curry powder. If you don't have this, you can use a little bit of garam masala. You can use Jamaican curry powder. Whatever you have, just use that. This is my Himalayan pink salt, but I won't be adding it now because I want to show you a trick that I use in order to make sure that my salt is always right in my rice dishes, okay? So give it a quick stir. You see, as soon as you add the masalas, as soon as you add the spices, the aroma kind of changes, right? Okay, so I'm also going to go in and add a handful of peas. Very technical, right? No, just eyeball it. I think if you learn to cook with intuition, you can cook in any season with any ingredients and it always comes out right. But if you always cook by the book, then when the season changes or the taste of your ingredients change, like tomatoes in winter don't taste the same as tomatoes in summer. So then what do you do, right? So always learn to cook by intuition. I'm very big on that. Also, it keeps you connected to your food. All right, so you can see that this is kind of sort of forming almost like a paste, like a stir fry. So you want a lot of the deglazing to come from the water of the rice that you're going to add. I have already pre-measured the 3 cups of water that are going to go into this rice. And I'm going to add it right now. So the darker your onions are, the darker your rice is going to be. And that's really a good sign, I think. But if you really want a light pulao, which is not heavy, and you want it just to be aromatic, then you can cook it till the onions are just translucent. You don't have to wait for them to be super dark. So in my family, everybody likes it super dark because then the aroma is almost kind of nutty and toasty and smoky and sweet at the same time. So they like their pulao to be a little dark. If you have a bag of frozen vegetables in your fridge, go ahead and use that. You don't have to use the peas. If you don't have the mushrooms, just use whatever you have. If you have nothing and you only have onions, you can still make this thing with just the onions and maybe like a nice, some fried snacks on the side with a little mango pickle on the side and some raita. Okay, so that's my 3 cups of water to 2 cups of rice because I'm pressure cooking. If you're doing it on a stovetop or on a saucepan, you are going to add 4 cups of water to 2 cups of rice. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the salt. Of course, I'm going to eyeball it and I'm using Himalayan pink salt. If you're using kosher salt or iodized salt, you have to really know how much you need to taste. You will add the salt and then you will give it a good stir. And then you're going to take a dip of this and put it on the tip of your tongue. The water should actually taste like tears. So that's how you know that your salt is absolutely perfect. You will always put salt according to the water, not according to the rice. Okay, so that being said, now this thing is going to simmer away. One last thing that I'm going to add here, and you may or may not have it at home, is dry fenugreek leaves. So this is actually an herb that is dried, and it looks somewhat like this. I've used it in a lot of my North Indian dishes. It looks somewhat like this. If you have ordered my masala box from my website on www.queenscurrykitchen.com, you will get this in one of these containers. So then you already have it, okay? And if you haven't ordered the masala box, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it has the best spices. All right, so I'm adding dry fenugreek herbs, and I'm going to just crush them between my palms. It releases the aromas, and the heat from the rubbing of the palms actually releases the oils. So it's really a good flavor to add. If you don't have fenugreek herbs, you can add dry basil, you can add dry parsley, you can add fresh basil, fresh parsley, star anise. Whatever you have right now, add that. If you have zero spices at home, at this point, add a little bit of pumpkin pie spice. Yes, you heard me. Pumpkin pie spice is not only for pumpkin pie. You can use it for a lot of different things, okay? So we're gonna give it a good swirl. And then we are ready to cover this. In it goes. I'm gonna hit cancel, and I will program this for 6 minutes on manual, and I'll hit the start button, and that's about it. And then it's going to do its own thing. Now the pressure is going to build up, and it will steam for 6 minutes, and then the pilaf will be ready when we open it up. We have to wait for it to stay there. There is a latch in here that actually is a pressure release. So when it flops in automatically, that means the pressure in the electric cooker has dropped, and we can safely open it. So we're going to open it, and it's going to be ready. And after it is done cooking, it's going to go to keep warm mode. So it's going to be warm no matter what time you want to eat it, okay? So that was my recipe for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have ordered those spices and you're loving what you're making with them, feel free to tag me. I'm on Instagram at Queen's Curry Kitchen. I'm also on YouTube now. Yes, you can find our channel on YouTube. Everything that you see in the live videos is also on YouTube. Plus, there are a lot of short videos that are really quick, 1.5 minute videos that you can watch if you missed something. Lots of recipes of flatbread. Recently, I just did one with a cashew marzipan, and I got so many comments for it. So thank you for appreciating it. Thank you for liking what you see. If there's any particular recipe that you would like me to make with you, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm very happy to do that. As always, if you didn't take my online class, no regrets. Didn't order my spices, no problem. But if you don't cook like you live in Queens, that's a problem. Okay? So stay flavorful, be blissful, don't worry. Everything shall pass. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check out www.queenscurrykitchen.com. There's an order online page. You can check out all the goods. But do come and join me here. It's all free. It's good fun, and we're cooking together and learning something new. Thank you for joining me with my foods and flavors. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great week ahead, and thank you for being with me today. Goodbye, and God.